Hello everybody. Let us continue with So I'm a Spider, So What? Chapter 3, The Egg. The egg is an essential ingredient in cooking, from simple preparations like boiled eggs and fried eggs to more complex dishes like rolled omelets and custard. They're excellent on their own, but combined with other ingredients, they open up a whole world of endless culinary possibility. Yes, the egg is the king of all foods. So much that every refrigerator has a space designed specifically for storing them. I assume that's a... Is that the case? Because... Or is that like a Japanese thing? Because I don't know if there is actually a specific spot in the fridge for eggs in like the ones you get in America. I used to eat them in cup ramen all the time. I slept well. Almost too much. Enough to make me sluggish. Being able to sleep safely is a wonderful thing. The lazy life is the best. Thank goodness for my little home. Since I ate my sibling and that frog earlier, I don't feel too hungry. Maybe spiders can store food longer than humans? Well, it depends also how long you slept for and that the fact that you're a monster, yeah, I agree. As I wake up with an assortment of idle thoughts on my mind, I feel one of my threads vibrating. I'm not particularly famished, but it's probably still a good idea to eat whenever I can. After all, if I miss this opportunity, who knows when I'll get my next chance. That is true, you never know when you're going to get your next meal when it comes to being a spider and catching things in that web. So, what have I got now? Huh? Human? A man carrying some round object is struggling furiously in my webbing. He's wearing the kind of clothes you'd expect on an adventurer in a fantasy world. Maybe that occupation really exists here? What should I do? Wait, this guy's all bloody. Is he okay? He noticed me. He looks panicked. Well, I mean, considering what you look like and everything, I can understand him looking a little worried, considering he might think he's dinner. Seriously, what am I supposed to do here? He took something out. What? It's burning. The man throws the item he produced to the ground, and it starts spouting a crazy inferno. I'm guessing a torch? Now the man is covered in flames. What the hell is he doing? The fire is spreading to the webbing and burning my net. Did he self-destruct to get rid of my threads or something? Apparently so. Now he's rolling on the ground, extinguishing the flames on his body. But now he's covered in burns. He was already bloody to begin with, and now he's scorched too. It doesn't take an expert to see that he probably isn't going to make it. Nevertheless, the man musters the last of his strength to dash away. Pretty impressive he's able to run in that state. I mean, adrenaline is a hell of a drug. A natural drug, too. Now it's just me and the round thing the man was carrying. What's this? Egg. I use appraisal and learn it's an egg. It's not the same size as me, so probably 3 feet across or so. Well, this has to be a monster egg. What kind of person leaves a thing like that lying around? Judging by the guy's condition, maybe the egg's parents attacked him. I mean, considering what we know the egg is from the anime, he's lucky to be alive. Considering what comes out of that egg and what bore that egg. It might not have been the egg's parents that attacked him. It could have been some other monster that attacked him when he was heading out with the egg. He probably slipped in, somehow grabbed the egg without being noticed, and made a run for it, and then got attacked by something else later. That's probably what it was. This thing isn't going to hatch suddenly, is it? Or worse, its parents aren't going to come looking for it, are they? I mean, considering what I think what it is, there might have been more eggs there that the parents didn't realize that an egg is missing, so they might not even come looking for it. I hope not. Scary. Yeah, considering what it is, yeah, you really don't want that coming. For the time being, I have to start rebuilding my web since the adventurer-looking dude burned it down. I can think about the rest later. A whole day has passed. My home is quite peaceful. Apparently the egg's parents aren't going to show up after all. Maybe the thief gave them the slip before getting here, or maybe they hadn't bothered chasing him for the loot to begin with. They probably didn't notice. Like I said, if it was like, let's say, the spider one, for example, and the spider, and he was real sneaky, there was probably a ton of eggs sitting there that they didn't even realize one had gone missing. I don't know what happened to the egg thief afterward, but from the look of his injuries, I doubt he survived. Which means it's okay for me to eat this, right? That human risked his life to bring back this egg. It must be a very rare item. Maybe it's an extremely delicious one too? Since my rebirth, all I've eaten is gross stuff like my sibling and a frog, so even a raw egg seems like a much more respectable meal. I mean, considering your what options you have down there, I mean, I agree. I have no reason not to eat it. So I decided to get down to business. First, I had to break the shell. I tapped it with my front legs. Nothing. I hit it again with more strength. Nothing. Getting desperate, I bang on the shell as hard as I can. Still nothing. Why is this egg so tough? At this rate, I can't eat it even if I want to. But still, if you think I'm just some ordinary spider, you're making a big mistake. Kneel before the glorious wisdom of a former human being. I adhere a stranded thread to the egg, then I attach the thread to the ceiling and loop it back down to the ground. I pull on the cord, raising the egg nearly to the ceiling. It's pretty heavy. Finally, I let go and gravity pulls my meal to the ground. Splat. Or not. Despite falling from close to the ceiling, the egg is completely unharmed. Good lord, what the fuck is a dragon egg made of? Oh my god. Those things are tough. Almost like it's stuff with the dragon scales, which is very, very tough. Which makes complete sense. What is up with this insanely tough shell? Huh. Clearly I'll need to take more drastic measures. Okay, next I'll drop it on a sharp rock. Once again, I haul the egg up to the ceiling, then I position it above a particularly sharp rock and let it fall. Now that should definitely be enough to splatter it. Or not. In fact, the egg actually chipped the rock! What? Okay, well, I'm not going to break this thing open. Alright, how about wrapping a bunch of elastic threads around it? I vaguely remember an experiment where people wrapped hundreds of rubber balloons around a watermelon until it eventually burst. Huh? How does that work? Maybe that would break an egg too? It's worth a shot. And so I set about creating rubbery threads and winding them around the egg over and over. Doing repetitive tasks like this made me sleepy, so I decided to use the time to consider something that has been bothering me, namely skills. Of course, there's the question of what exactly these skills are, but that tangent won't yield an answer, so I'm not going to bother. More important, I want to think about the abilities I currently have and the ones I might be able to gain in the future. From what I can tell, I've acquired 5 thus far. Appraisal level 1, Acid Resistance level 2, Poison Resistance level 1, Taboo level 1, and Heretic Magic level 1. I also got a hold of Appraisal by spending skill points. Those points are another mystery. However, I decided not to worry about them for the time being. Frankly, since I have 0 skill points and no idea how to go about procuring more, there isn't much point in worrying about that at the moment. Anyway, unlike Appraisal, I obtained Taboo and Heretic Magic by earning a title. After that, I tried a bunch of other stuff, but I didn't end up with any new titles. I mean, you gotta do something over and over and over again in order to even probably have a chance at getting a title. So, some things anyway. Like the Poison Resistance and the Acid Resistance, you had to take damage from those things a bunch in order to get it. Without knowing what titles are available and what I need to do to get them, it'd probably be tough to gain titles deliberately. For now, I'll just count myself lucky when I do get one. I continue winding the rubber thread. I've made a lot at this point, but there's still no visible change in the egg. At any rate, although I got some skills through titles or skill points, the way I stumbled upon acid resistance was totally different. I think I got that one because I was hit with an attack and took acid damage. So as long as I can handle the pain of the process, I bet I can acquire more resistance. For instance, if a fire attack lands on me, will I obtain fire resistance? I mean, I would assume yes. That's how you got the poison resistance and the acid resistance, so I mean... Or the extra level, wait, yeah, no, the poison resistance you already, I would assumed you already had, but I guess not. In terms of self-defense, the more resistances I have, the better. So from now on, should I always take the first hit from an enemy as long as it won't kill me? Nah, I don't want to get hurt, and there's no guarantee I'll even obtain any resistance skills. That's true. There's no need to put myself in unnecessary danger at the very least. Yeah, it's not just because I don't want to deal with pain for any length of time. When I got hit with the frog's attack, I not only received acid resistance, my poison resistance skill also went up. Wait, really? Hold on. Acid resistance level 2, poison resistance level... No, your poison resistance didn't go up. You just obtained it. Your acid resistance is what led up to level 2. So what if the divine voice, temporary name, said was correct? That means I had the poison resistance skill from the beginning. Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah. Well, I'm a spider and I use venom, so it's no big surprise that I will be a little more immune to those things. Yeah. Even so, though, what kind of system doesn't tell you what skills you have in the first place? If the divine voice hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have realized I had poison resistance. So wait, doesn't that mean I have other skills I don't know about yet? Maybe? That would probably make sense, huh? So what kind of skills do I have? Poison attacks? I wish I could check, but I have no way to do that. Maybe if my appraisal skill level goes up, I'll be able to see it? Appraisal level? Proficiency? Hey, wait, maybe I can raise that skill level then. Yeah, you can raise up any... If it's got a level number, you should be able to raise it up. Still have no idea how you raise up taboo, I can't remember. If that even can go up, I can't remember. But, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Proficiency basically just means how familiar you are with a thing, right? So if appraisal ranks up based on proficiency like the resistance type skills, won't it increase if I just use it a bunch of times? Yeah, in theory, yes. Since I got it with skill points, I assumed I'd only be able to raise its level with more points, but maybe not? Still wrapping rubbery thread around the egg, I started praising everything in sight. A ton of useless information like wall and floor flows into my brain. Oof, that's kind of unpleasant, like getting drunk on too much data. Slang did say that if you used it, then you'd get a headache and be like drunk, so, I mean, yeah. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill appraisal level 1 has become appraisal level 2. Worth it. Woo! It only went up one level, but I feel like I've taken a huge step forward. With some anticipation, I try appraising myself. Small lesser pterodactyl, nameless. Oh, now there's something that looks like a species name, too. I still didn't get much information, but compared to level 1 when it only provided spider, this is still a substantial improvement. At the same time, though, why small and lesser? That makes me sound inferior. I mean, you are small in comparison to the gigantic mother or father you have up there. So, yeah. Yeah, in comparison. Okay, now my excitement about increasing appraisal skill level is dying down a bit. I wasn't expecting much to begin with, but it didn't occur to me that I might be such a small fry. But that's more or less what I was in my previous life anyway, so I guess it isn't a big deal. More important, I have to keep appraising and raising my skill level. As I wrap the rubber threads around the egg, I do some level grinding on appraisal. It won't go up! I keep appraising the wall over and over, but my skill level doesn't rise one bit. I mean, you probably take a lot of experience in order to be able to even raise that skill up in the first place. As you get up in levels, it takes more and more experience to do so. So you might have a ton of experience needed to get that skill up, and probably appraising it only gives you like 1 experience point or something. So it's going to take a while. By the way, the result of that analysis was dungeon wall. Not exactly helpful, but I mean, it's different from what they just said, which is wall. That isn't such a big deal, but why isn't my level going up? The most likely explanation is probably that your proficiency only increases the first time you appraise something. Otherwise, it'd be too easy to level it up, huh? Probably, because you could just spam something that gives that something big that you come in contact with, like, I don't know, that won't attack you. And spam doing that, that would make sense, because that you could just level grind on that, so they would be too easy. So obvious, because appraisal is essentially is hard to level up, so that's why hardly anybody has it, or even levels it up anyway if they did have it. And also the effect that if you tried to use it anyway, you'd get, like, drunk feeling, so, yeah. Just to be sure, I appraise every nook and cranny of my home, but the skill level doesn't rise. Looks like I don't have enough proficiency, which means that if I want to cultivate my appraisal, I'll have to leave my home and use it on other things. Thinking back, I did appraise a whole bunch of monsters when the skill was still level 1. That might be what got me most of the way to level 2. That is true, probably. Outside, though, now that I have this safe, comfortable house, why would I bother going out? If I want to live in peace, my best bet is to stay a shut-in, but if you want to get stronger and be able to defend yourself if something strong does show up in your web, you need to get stronger somehow. But if I want to raise my skill level, I need to go outside. There are pros and cons to both sides, but the danger of going outside is a pretty massive downside for sure. Plus, although this probably isn't the case, it's not impossible the egg's parents are roaming around out there. Okay, that settles it. I'm staying inside. But you don't even know who the egg belongs to in the first place, so you could run into them without even realizing it. 2, the only way they'd know you have the egg is if they smell it on you, and who knows if the thing is even producing a scent in the first place. 3, any of those monsters out there would want to kill you anyway, whether you had the egg or not. So yeah. As I continue working on the egg in my home, one of the threads of my web starts vibrating again. It's a special occasion, my second catch. Perfect timing. I was just getting a little bit hungry. I skip a little as I head toward my prey. It's kind of surreal for a spider to skip, even for me. Last time I let down my guard and took a surprise attack to the face, this time I approached with caution. Now I wonder what kind of prey I caught this time. Elro frog. It's another frog. You again! Why, damn it? There are tons of other monsters in this dungeon. What are the odds of catching the same kind of monster twice in a row? Ha! Whoops, I got a little carried away there. Really, though. Splat. No! While I'm preoccupied with a one-man comedy act in my head, the frog aims a spit attack right at me. Never in both of my lives have I been so shocked. I'm such an idiot. Okay. The pain brings me partially to my senses. This time, my resistance doesn't level up. Must not have enough proficiency yet. Yeah. Well, whatever. I wrap the frog in thread so it can't fight back, then I bite down on it from above. Chomp. The first frog didn't die after one bite, so this one probably has some resistance too. Still, if I immobilize it and bite it once, that should weaken it significantly. I quickly brought the frog bundle into my home, then go back and immediately rebuild the broken web. Last time I left the webbing as it was and ate my prey right on the spot, but thinking about it afterward, I realized I left myself totally defenseless in the meantime. If other monsters or even humans had arrived right at that moment, I would have been under attack without a complete web for defense. So this time I restrict the frog's movements first, repair my web, and then finish it off and eat it once I'm fully prepared. When I return to the frog, I see it wriggling around in an attempt to escape, despite being all wrapped up. Well, I mean, of course. I guess one bite didn't have that much effect. Chomp, I'll bite it again. The first time, I'd beaten the frog by biting it over and over, but that probably wasn't necessary. All I need to do is sink my teeth into it and keep injecting poison through my fangs. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill, Poison Fang level 1, has become Poison Fang level 2. Nice! Oh, I totally leveled up a skill! This is the first time I've heard of this one. At the same moment my skill levels up, the struggling frog gives one last spasm and stops moving. It's so sudden that I'm a little startled. Oh, but that probably meant that leveling up my skill increased the potency of my poison. Yeah, and it probably did more damage too. Nice! Experience has reached the required level. Individual small lesser terror tech has increased from level 1 to level 2. My body feels strange. Huh? What's going on? My skin's peeling off. Molting? Am I molting? All basic attributes have increased. Skill proficiency level up bonus acquired. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill poison resistance level 2. Wait, when did it become level 2? Was that a typo in the thing or something, I'm assuming? Has become poison resistance level 3. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill spider thread level 2 has become spider thread level 3. Skill points acquired. What? Wait a second. Did I just get a whole bunch of important information at once? Say it again. One more time, please. The divine voice, temporary, remains silent, ignoring my wishes. Oh man, seriously? No, I have to calm down and remember, did it say I leveled up? It did, didn't it? I was so distracted by the sun molting that I didn't catch everything. No, wait, there's no way I'd just randomly start molting for no reason, right? Maybe my body renewed itself because I leveled up? At any rate, the old skin is still stuck to me, so I peel it off. Wow, a few areas like on my back are pretty messed up. That was where the frog's acid got me. I wasn't able to see it until now, but it looks like a pretty bad wound. Speaking of which, the part of my vision that was busted is all back to normal. Ooh, so if you level up, you make a full physical recovery and everything. Very fancy. Okay. So this is definitely a level up. My body feels kind of light and refreshed too. It probably happened because I beat that frog and gained experience points, right? I decided to start eating the frog while I process what happened. Now, Let's see if I can remember it one at a time. I think the first thing it said was that my level went up. The molting started right after that, and while I was freaking out, I think the divine voice spattered off a whole bunch of other stuff. Let me see. Skills? That's right, wasn't there something about skill levels going up? And it was more than one, right? Did 2 go up at the same time? Why? Right, I think there was something else before that bit about skills. Skill proficiency level up bonus, maybe? That's it. It did say that. In other words, when I leveled up just now, bonus points were added to my skill proficiencies. So that's why multiple skill levels went up at once. The skills affected were poison resistance and spider thread, right? Huh? So thread handling is a skill too. I didn't catch what level it was, though. But if I keep making spider thread, the skill should improve. It's easily enough, right? I don't know how much you'll have to do that. Well, that's handy information. And at the end, weren't there something about skill points? So I guess you get more of those by leveling up then. I mean, considering you play a lot of video games, you would think you'd know that. In summary, when I level up, I completely recover health, I think. My stats go up too, plus I get skill points. I probably test out how much I've earned later, and the most important part is that I received a skill proficiency bonus. I don't know exactly how many points that entails, but since it raised 2 skills at once, I bet it was a ton. So leveling up might be a good way to enhance skills effectively. Levels, huh? Since skills and titles exist, I kind of figured levels would too, but still. I've been trying not to think about it too much, but boy, this world sure is game-like. I was afraid that if I took that view, I might start acting as if I'm just playing a game, but I guess it's too late for that. I have to admit, though, I'm already getting a little excited. I can't help it if I have the soul of a gamer, alright? For now, my current goal is to break that egg. It seems impossible at this moment. The shell is just too tough. Wrapping the rubber threads around it didn't do a thing, it seems. But if I keep raising my level and improving my stats, I should be able to crack it eventually. Just you wait, egg. I'm gonna break you open and eat you as if it's the last thing I do. And of course, there's the frog. Level 1. Status. HP, 65 out of 65. MP, 45 out of 45. SP, which I think is stamina. 55 out of 55. And I don't know what this is. 55 out of 55. Let's see. Average offensive skill ability, 55. Average defensive ability, 55. Average magic ability, 28. Average resistance ability, 28. Average speed ability, 30. And then skills. Well, let me see if I can make this bigger. I can! Okay, skills, poison synthesis, level 1. Acid attack, level 1. There we go. Injection, level 1. Night vision, level 6. Oh, that was 35. 35, 35, 28, 28, 30. Okay. Poison resistance, level 1. Acid resistance, level 1. Also known simply as a frog. Its rainbow-colored body is about 3 feet long. It uses poison synthesis to create a ball of weak poison, imbues the ball with acidic qualities with acid attack, and shoots at the enemy with expel. Since its physical capabilities are the same up close or from a distance, it can sometimes catch opponents off guard with its counterattack. Danger level F. Okay. Can I make this smaller? Okay, I think I'm good. Okay. I don't want to make it bigger. There we go. Okay, leaving the nest. If I want to break the egg and if I want to survive, I'm going to have to become stronger. I don't want to get killed by a monster, human, or whatever else. And since the egg thief showed up at my doorstep, It seems that humans do come this far out from time to time. There's no guarantee that the egg's parents aren't looking around somewhere, though. Well, like I said, you don't know what the egg is. If you knew what was inside the egg... I'm surprised she hasn't done appraisal on the egg now that she's got level 2. So... I could have probably told her what it was, a dragon egg? I think it was. Now my spider body is decently agile. I can jump almost 7 feet in the air, and I can climb walls too. Before I made my house, I encountered other monsters while I was out wandering around outside, but I was speedy enough to avoid them without a problem. Well, doesn't that mean you're actually a pretty powerful monster, you ask? That's what I thought too. But clearly I was wrong. How can I be strong when I can't even break an egg? My best weapons are my thread and poison fangs. I combine enemies in my web and finish them off with my poison. This golden combo is my key to victory, so in other words, any situation where it doesn't work will spell my defeat. My webbing and fangs are essential to me, no, to all spider monsters. Once I arrived at this conclusion, I stuck with the pattern of rendering my opponents helpless with my thread before finishing them off. Using the strategy, I took out my third frog unharmed, and when I finished eating, the divine voice temporary rang out again. Condition satisfied. Acquired title, Foul Feeder. Acquired skills, Poison Resistance level 1. Didn't you already get the fuck? Isn't this when, I guess, when she got it? Rot Resistance level 1 as a result of title, Foul Feeder. Skill, Poison Resistance level 1 has been integrated into Poison Resistance... What? Has been integrated into Poison Resistance level 3. Huh? I'm confused. I'm very confused. Hey, I got a new title. So I can't get one on purpose by doing all those other things, but then one gets dropped on me when I'm not even trying. Hey, I can't help it if my food is foul. There's nothing here for me to eat but monsters. Well, I guess complaining to the divine voice temporary won't do me any good. So the skills I got were poison resistance and rot resistance? What does that mean? Can I eat rotten things now, maybe? I'm assuming rot resistance means that you can eat something that would normally rot you out or something? I don't know. It doesn't seem particularly useful, but I guess it's better than nothing. And I already had the poison resistance skill, but judging from what the divine voice temporary said, it must have added a level minus skills worth of proficiency to what I already have. Huh? Well, if my skills get stronger, then so will I, probably. Although ramping up my resistance isn't going to help me break that egg. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill, Spider Thread level 5, good lord, has become Spider Thread level 6. After a while of playing with practicing with my thread very studiously, my skill level rose. Since I now know that my spider thread is a skill, I've been trying all kinds of things with it to earn more proficiency. Raising the skill level might improve things like the elasticity of the rubber thread, in which case the egg might just break. Hey, it sure took a while to level up, though. As a result, the inside of my house is now entirely white. Compared to when I first made it, my home has changed a lot over the course of a few days. For one thing, I've got more webs. For a while, I just put one web over each of the 3 passages of the intersection, but now I have several more set up along the passageways. My thinking was that a single trap might be easy to break through. With this many spider webs, it'll take some time for anything to get to the center. Now my home is even safer than before, and yet you are also screwed if those things are essentially burned. You're trapped. That alone wasn't enough to raise my skill level, so I decided to decorate the walls next. I applied my silk all over the walls, coating it in white. Of course, these weren't just ordinary decorations. These wallpaper threads were linked to my web so that when prey got caught, the fibers would automatically pull away from the wall and wrap around the unlucky victim. I was extremely proud of this trap, which took a great deal of trial and error to complete. Around the time I started putting up the wallpaper threads, my skill level rose by 1. After those were all finished, my last project was to string up some individual strands inside my home. This thread doesn't have any stickiness and it snaps with a single touch. If I leave it alone long enough, the natural flow of air eventually breaks before it's absorbed by the wallpaper thread. I think I was able to make such fine filaments now because my skill level had reached 5. Those are for enemy detection. The ends of the invisible threads are connected to me, so if something touches them, I'll know what it is. I developed this detection fiber to counter the inconvenient fact that I can't see behind me. Since I don't have to worry about my back while I'm at home, I decided to put up a few around my home instead. My hope is to eventually be able to remotely control these when I explore outside my home. After all this, I was pretty much out of things to do, so I just started pointlessly stockpiling more thread until I finally reached skill level 6. Thanks to this, I've gained the ability to make high-quality, silk-like threads, so I produced a few balls of that and left them lying around whenever. Of course, naturally producing all this webbing ended up making me hungry. Well, of course. Which is why I wasted no time devouring the next victim of my web. All the monsters in this area seem to be venomous, so my poison fangs can't kill them very quickly. Well, once it's trapped in my web, I have as long as I like to do it. Or to do it in. As a result, my poison fang skill went up to level 4, and my poison resistance skill rose to level 5. So far, I've defeated 3 Elro Randonales, 1 Elro Pecatot, 1 Elro Basilisk, ooh, that's a snake, and 1 Fingicote. In addition, there were 2 more of the now familiar frogs. Is this dungeon a frog breeding ground? I defeated quite a few monsters now, but I still have yet to see any more humans. Elro Randonales are small dinosaur-like monsters. 3 of them attacked me at once, which totally freaked me out. But all 3 of them got trapped in my net perfectly, so it was no sweat. The Elro Pecatot is a bizarre monster resembling a cross between a penguin and a pelican with monkey arms. That's freaky. Wonder how that was made. I hate to think of that breeding session. Oh, God. The Fingicote is a freakishly huge, bee-like creature so large that it took up almost the entire 10-foot width of the passage. It's because of that, though, my weapon snared it without a hitch. The biggest pain in the butt was the Elro Basilisk. It looked just like a giant lizard, but true to its name, it had some kind of petrification attack. I think it had the same kind of petrifying glare you see in games and fantasy stories. It turned one of my front legs into stone. What a terrifying enemy. I was so scared that I resorted to a strategic withdrawal, aka hiding behind the egg. Just then, the rubber threads around the egg all turned to stone and shattered. Maybe that'd work on the egg too? Tentatively optimistic, I let it keep using its petrification attack, but the egg was unaffected. In fact, the lizard wore itself out, attacking my shield, so I was able to slip in and finish it off without any issue. What the hell is up with that egg anyway? I don't know. After that encounter, I had to suffer with a petrified leg until I leveled up and molted again. Since I got the petrification resistance skill in the process, it was an overall benefit, but it was still at least as dangerous as my first meetup with the frog. Oh right, like I was saying, I leveled up. 3 times to be exact. Now I'm level 5. As far as I know, I have the following skills. Poison Fang level 4, Spider Thread level 6, Appraisal level 2, Taboo level 1, Heretic Magic level 1, Poison Resistance level 5, Acid Resistance level 2, Rot Resistance level 1, Petrification Resistance level 1. I've gone up 3 whole levels, but my skills haven't changed all that much. Guess the level up proficiency bonus isn't as big as I thought. I mean, you have to be able to go and attack multiple different varieties of enemies in order to even raise up those skills, or have a chance of raising up those skills to begin with, so, yeah. It doesn't seem like I gained too many skill points with each level either. I got all excited when the Divine Voice temporary said I had more skill points, but I can't figure out how to obtain any new skills with them. I try imagining all manner of skills that might exist, but I can't do anything. I can't do anything. When the skill I thought of doesn't exist, the Divine Voice temporary won't say a damn thing, and when it does, insufficient skill points is all it'll say. The rules for skills are more complicated than I first assumed. Another day's lazily spent. I love my little home. Wait. What egg? I don't know what you're talking about. I have zero recollection of any big white bundle of rubber threads. What, are you trying to hide it or something? My meals deliver themselves to me without any effort on my part, and the house is totally secure, so I can snooze to my heart's content despite being in the middle of a dangerous dungeon. I've carpeted the hard floor with plenty of soft silk, so it's nice and comfortable too. I'm taking it easy as I go about my daily thread-making routine. This is the life. Thinking about it now, my days were pretty busy back in my former life. I didn't pay any attention to it back then, but in retrospect, how did I ever live on 4 hours of sleep a day? Barely, girl. You barely did. Before, my life consisted of waking up early to go to school, then coming home and playing video games until I succumbed to the drowsiness. Yeah, that's just how I lived. Playing games was fun and all, but looking back on it, I don't know why I went to all that trouble when I was under no obligation to do so. Between my pride in being among the top free-to-play gamers and caving to the expectations of my peers, I think I was starting to push myself past my limits. Me worrying about other people's expectations? What a joke. I'm totally self-sufficient. Who cares what other people think? At least that's what I've been telling myself. But since starting this new life, I've realized that I might have been giving in to that human impulse at least a little. So now that I'm living a life truly without responsibilities, I feel liberated at least at leaving everything else behind. In the beginning, I was concerned that I might be unbearably bored with so little to do, but clearly I worried for nothing. I certainly have a lot of free time without the internet or games, but it isn't so bad. Perhaps my standards for happiness are just lower than the norm. To be honest, as long as I get to live, that's good enough for me. This present life with guaranteed food and shelter is enough to make me content. So much so that I figure I could probably spend the rest of my life right here like this. Although I don't know how long spider monsters live. And while that sounds nice in theory, I know a time will probably come someday when I have to leave this home. Some unforeseen situation, a change in the environment, the arrival of enemies able to bust through my webs. More people like the egg thief or a really strong monster or something. I don't know when, but I'm certain this time will come eventually. Everything changes, sooner or later. So I figure it's probably best to prepare for whenever that time might come. Yeah, I said all that, but this is way too soon. I'm not ready. The reason for my panic? One of the entrances to my home is going up in smoke before my very eyes. I have been just starting to doze off when the fire suddenly broke out. Slowly, inevitably, the home that I made for myself is sinking into a sea of flames. And this is how I discovered that my spider thread, which I had assumed to be near invincible, is extremely weak to fire. You would think that would be the case, you know? Because you hadn't come across anything that uses fire yet, except for that guy who got caught in your web in the first place. Where did this fire even come from? It doesn't take long to find the answer. A human. There's a man standing among the flames. Not the egg thief, of course. He's holding a torch in one hand. He must have used that to set my home ablaze. Damn. I can't see too well through the flames, but I can spot several more people behind the man. This fire is no accident. Obviously, they're on a mission to destroy my webs. Which would mean that they're also aware of the spider monster inside. In other words, me. If I stay here, I'll either burn to death or get caught by the humans. Fortunately, the fire hasn't reached me yet, and if I flee through the emergency exit on the other side, I should be able to escape the people too. I take one last look around inside my dwelling. Since my reincarnation, I'd spend most of my time here. I worked so hard to make this home. I'd made many discoveries here, too, and the results have been brought joy, sorrow, and everything in between. This place had kept me safe all this time. In fact, I might even have become more attached to it than I was to my room in my previous life. That's how powerful the time I spent here has been. I start running away from the fire. The complicated nest of spider thread falls away as I easily cut through it. The last web. Once I pass through, I'll never be able to come back here again. Once I pass through, I won't be safe anywhere. Nonetheless, I push through without hesitation. I feel an overwhelming urge to look back as I leave, but I resist. All I can think about now is running away as fast as I can. Or as far as I can. And so I've been driven out of my home for good. As an aside, I should note that the adventurers who set fire to my home apparently discovered a large amount of my balls of thread and the egg I left behind. Luckily, the fire hadn't reached that far, so they took all of it with them. Yep. I heard that clothing made with that thread fetches an insanely high price. They say the king of some country or other bought some, and it became a topic of much discussion for a while. As for the egg, apparently it stubbornly survived the whole ordeal and successfully hatched sometime later. I didn't learn any of this until much, much later. And when I did, my first thought was, I'm so glad I didn't break that thing open. Okay, let's see. 39 minutes. That took 39 minutes, dang. Okay, the hatchling. Okay, we're gonna find out what's in the egg. Soon I stared at the thing in shock. In front of our eyes was one enormous egg. It was about 3 feet tall. I was pretty sure the biggest kind of egg in my former world was an ostrich, but this was clearly far larger than that. Yeah, because I think an ostrich egg can fit in your hand. Like, you can carry it, one egg in your hand. Essentially, that's how big it is. That was because the thing inside was a monster. Unlike in games, the monsters in this world don't just randomly pop into existence out of thin air. They reproduce like any other living creature. This egg had come from monster parents. We were told it had been found in a place called the Great Elro Labyrinth, and it was a gift to us in commemoration of our appraisal ceremony. A monster egg seemed like a dangerous gift to me, but evidently if humans raised it from the moment it hatched, a monster could become attached to and serve its human owners. And this particular creature was about to hatch at any moment. You can do it, Sue murmured encouragingly. Ever since a few light cracks had appeared in the egg's surface, the creature inside had been battering it desperately. The first crack showed up 2 days before, so it was proving to be a fairly drawn-out battle. By now the cracks had extended all over the surface of the egg. It looked ready to burst open any moment now. Sue and I held our breath as we watched the situation unfold. I was tempted to help the poor thing out, but Anna advised us not to. The baby needed to break through on its own, or it wouldn't grow up strong and healthy. One part of the shell cracked open and something like a hand burst through. The limb flailed about, tearing at the rest of the egg impatiently, and then from inside emerged a monster resembling a black lizard. Its eyes met mine. Somehow they appeared to be almost glittering with happiness. It's so not cute. Hearing Sue's disappointed comment, the lizard's mouth dropped open as if in shock. Did it understand what she said? Of course not, right? You think so? I think it's pretty charming in its own way. Back on Earth, there was a sizable gap between reptile fans and haters, but I definitely leaned toward the former. I would have been all about this lizard when I was a young boy. Congratulations, so it is indeed a baby Earth dragon. Yep. That's why it was so damn hard for her to break it open, because it was a dragon egg. Those things are those are said to be hard to break. Anna said as she examined the lizard. As a half-elf, she was older and more knowledgeable than her appearance suggested, and according to her, this lizard was a baby Earth dragon. A dragon? Just the sound of its name was enough to get me excited. Even adult Earth dragons can't fly, I've heard, but still, a dragon is a dragon. Hang on. Sorry, I felt like something was in my eye. This little guy was definitely going to be super strong someday. I imagine myself riding on the back of a fully grown dragon. Now that'd be nice. Apparently a dragon that lived long enough and reached a high enough level would evolve into a naga. Can I raise this one to do that? Probably not. If you don't want it, then I'd be happy to raise it myself. Do you mind? Anything you desire is yours to have, dear brother. Man, what was I going to do about this? I have the feeling that my sister was starting to head down a very weird path. Good question. Your sister's starting to become very attached to you. In a very creepy way. But it worked out to my advantage this time, so I decided to let it slide for now. I held the lizard in my arms. It was very docile. When I patted its head, it responded by nuzzling against me happily. I'll have to give it a name, huh? May I? Anna took the lizard from my arms for a moment. Then she felt around its lower half. The little guy wriggled in protest, but Anna held it too tightly for it to escape. It's female. With this confirmed, Anna handed the lizard back to me. The creature had something of an inconsolable expression as I held it. It got violated! She was like, I just got violated. What the hell? A girl, huh? What kind of name should I give her? If it had been a boy, I obviously would have given it a really badass name, but a girl should probably have a pretty name. A cute name probably wouldn't suit a dragon. Alright, I've got it. I ran through a few possibilities in my mind, then settled on the last one. Dang it, how did they pronounce it in the show? I'm gonna call you Faerun, Fae for short. This was the name of a big area in an online game I used to play in my previous life. It was a desert area that seemed to go on forever. In the center was a dragon that served as the area boss, and if you beat it, you could get to it in an oasis. That oasis was probably the most beautiful location in the whole game, the most sought-after site for screenshots. At night especially, it looked like a paradise hidden in the middle of a wilderness. Her black exterior reminded me of that nighttime scene, so it seemed like the perfect name for an earth dragon. Nice to meet you, Faye. When I called her by name, Faye responded with a happy little coo. Okay, Yeah, how am I gonna do this? Okay. Elroferect. Level 1, stats. HP level 25 out of 25, MP 15 out of 15, SP 15 out of 15, and something 15 out of 15. Average offensive ability 5, average defensive ability 5, average magic ability 5, average resistance ability 4. 4 for the magic ability too, sorry. Average speed ability 90. Dang, these things are fast. What the heck is this thing? Skill paralysis attack level 1, paralysis resistance level 1. Also known as a centipede, an insect-type monster with a multitude of legs. Most of its stats are very low, with the exception of its speed, which is abnormally high, which makes sense. However, despite being endemic to the Great Elro Labyrinth, this monster lacks the night vision skill, making it possible to easily dispatch solitary specimens. The one truly frightening aspect of these monsters is their tendency to appear in large numbers and function as a colony. A single Ferric's danger level is F, but a colony can reach danger level B. Ooh, that's not good. Okay. Oh, good. I figured out how to close that instantly. Good. Okay, I think I'm going to end this off here. I will see you guys in the next video.